Okay, for this quiz review, this will be problem number 2. We're going to do just the first half of problem number 2 on this video. It says, below is a function written as a verbal description. Use this function to answer questions A through H. So remember, functions can be written as tables, they can be written as graphs, as equations, but also in scenarios with verbal description. So here's the verbal description we're going to keep coming back to. Zion shovels snow for winter work and charges $20 per sidewalk. Now and we're going to keep coming back to that, so remember this problem. Identify the independent and dependent quantities in this problem situation. So we need to kind of talk about what's changing here in this problem. What quantities can be measured and how are they related to each other? So obviously we can talk about how many dollars he makes, right? So we definitely are talking about money earned, dollars that Zion earns. And the other thing that's changing, that's related to the money that he earns, is how many sidewalks. Okay, so we have two quantities that are changing. We have the money that he earns, and we have the sidewalks that he shovels. So now we just need to decide which one's independent and which one's dependent. So there's a couple ways to think about it. You could say, does the number of sidewalks he shovels depend on how much money he earns? Or does how much money he earns depend on how many sidewalks? And if you think about that, the amount of money he makes depends on how many sidewalks he shovels, which makes the amount of money the dependent. So we're going to write that down. Dependent is the money earned, and independent is the number of sidewalks shoveled. Another way you guys came up with to think about this is to ask, well, what do you need in order something else to happen? I need to shovel some sidewalks in order to make some money. And if that's what you need, then that's the independent, right? So two ways to kind of think about it. This is the independent. So now in part B, they're asking us to suppose that S represents the number of sidewalks that Zion shoveled. So they're defining some variables here. And P of S represents the profit Zion makes shoveling sidewalks. So P of S here, this is not multiplication, right? This is function notation. P of S, the profit. So we've got these two things are our variables, and they want us to complete a table of values to describe the situation. So we need to ask ourselves, it's probably easiest just to start with sidewalks. And what's the minimum number of sidewalks he can shovel? That's 0. So we probably put a 0 here. And then he's probably not going to be shoveling half a sidewalk. And then besides, it'd just be easier. They're not telling us what values to make. So I think just going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up. So I think that's what we're going to do for me, the easiest. Now you can choose other numbers than these. But the easiest for me is to choose 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we just need to ask ourselves, how much money is he going to make if he shovels 0 sidewalks? Well, he's going to make $0 if he shovels 0 sidewalks. How much money will he make if he shovels 1? $20. 2. Okay, well, 2 sidewalks would be $40, right? 3 sidewalks would be $60, and 4 sidewalks would be $80, right? So this is just one example of a table. You could have chosen other numbers here. You could have chosen 6 or 10 or 20. So your table might look different, but you just need to make sure that whatever you have over here is correctly corresponding to whatever you have over here. So now, C says write an equation and function notation to represent this problem situation. So an equation and function notation, that means we need to come up with kind of a general rule. That's another way to say that, a general rule, right? A general rule. And what were we doing each time to go from here to here? Now, if I want to know how many dollars he's going to make off the sidewalks, really all I was doing was multiplying by 20, right? So 4 times 20 is 80. 3 times 20 is 60. 2 times 20 is 40. 1 times 20 is 20. 0 times 20 is 0, right? So if I take the number of sidewalks he shovels and I multiply that by 20, I will get the profit. So do you hear in words I'm saying number of sidewalks times 20 will give me profit. So notice that if I say that in English, it makes sense, right? But remember, math is just an elegant way to write that English sentence. Number of sidewalks times 20 gives me my profit. So this is the fast, general way in an equation. And for D, on the back side of your paper, they want to use your equation to find P of 11. Now remember, again, this is not multiplication. This does not mean 11 times P. It means what is the profit when the number of sidewalks is 11, right? That's what that means. What is the profit when the number of sidewalks is 11? So that means just take 11 and plug it in for S. So the profit, P of 11, the profit equals 20 times 11. What is the profit when you shovel 11 sidewalks? So 20 times 11, you just take 11 and plug it in for S, and that equals 220, right? So we used our equation to find P of 11 and then explain in words what your answer means in terms of the word problem. Here we are. It means you will earn $220 if you shovel 11 sidewalks, or Zion will earn $220 if he shovels 11 sidewalks. So you need to write that out.